Welcome back to another great episode of Comedians in Bed. And as always, man, I have another great guest here for you. And you know me, I like to give an introduction. Now, as you can see, this woman is beautiful, man. And the beauty
Thank
matched
you.
the jokes too, because she's freaking hilarious. And she's a super mom. That song that Alicia Keys made, This Girl is on Fire. I feel like she was talking about our next guest that we have in the building here. I'm so happy that we got her, man. She's been blazing the stage all over America, and right now we got her on the podcast. Please give it up for Roni Shanell, everybody.
Yo, yo, yo.
What's good? How you feeling today?
What up, though? That's that Detroit shit right there.
No, for real, because I was while I was studying, do my research, I found out that you are from Detroit. My fiance is from
Mhm.
Detroit. Y'all cool people.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
That's what's
yeah.
up. What part of town? You know what part of town she from?
It's just a good thing to say because she moved here when she was 3. So, yeah.
Okay, it sounds good then.
I
Okay.
really
She,
don't know though.
she got she got roots. She got roots.
Yeah, I took her back for the first time in a while. This past summer in July, and
Mhm.
I think she showed me what hospital she was born in, but I couldn't really tell you. Yeah.
Okay.
But I
What
love
city are
Detroit
you in
though.
again?
Say that over time.
What city are you in again?
Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, okay. We neighbors. Okay.
Yeah, you live in Toledo right now, right?
No, I still live in Detroit. I
Oh,
just
okay,
I
okay.
work out of Toledo a lot.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's like hour
Yeah.
away from me.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's not too far. Okay, okay, okay. All right,
Mhm.
cool. Yeah, next time we come to Detroit, I'm gonna have to. Well, we're actually coming there for the Beyonce concert, so we're gonna have to stop by.
Okay. Y'all really did that?
Yeah,
Dang, I need that money. I need that kind of money. I'm funny, but I ain't Beyonce money funny.
nah, man, you just gotta know how to work it. We ain't get them yet, but they seem to be around $200. I was like, oh, I can do 200.
Oh
I can
yeah,
do
yeah,
200. Yeah,
yeah,
just put it
yeah.
on the credit card. Figure out how you gonna pay it later.
Exactly. Listen, boy, you ain't got client on Afterpay. Cause I sure was front row for Trey Songz. I was like, yeah, give me the best ticket y'all got. I Afterpay like a motherfucker.
But now we had a good time. We was out there. We went to it was like around the 4th of July, and we went to go see uh Next, well, that version of Next, and Drew
Mhm.
Hill with all 6 members,
Okay.
and the updated version of Mint Condition,
Okay.
and Genuine was there.
How was that?
It was fun. It wasn't packed, but it was fun. Like, y'all real cool.
Okay.
Y'all don't really do much. Y'all don't. And me and her got like into like a disagreement, and then I
Mhm.
looked around and everybody was just chilling, and I was like, okay, we got to act accordingly because this is everybody out here
They
chill.
so fake bougie. Man, that's why they go to clubs no more, because they just stand around. I like to dance, so I get funky. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to leave musty.
No, we did have fun when we went to some club called Spotlight. I
Okay.
think it's like a newer club. It's gonna kill me if I don't, because this club was actually like hella fun, and we had
Yeah.
like a really good time, man. And we gonna go back. But I think it was called Spotlight. I'm about to look it up real quick because if not,
Okay.
like, yeah, it was called Spotlight. All right, cool. Yeah, that club was fun. That club was hella fun, man. Hella fun. But
Okay.
how is being from Detroit? Because the first time I went there, actually, I was 11, and I was just like, it was a lot to take in, but it was like cool. And I was like, I
Mhm.
want to go back. And then last summer was my first time going back, and it just looks totally different. No disrespect.
Yes.
It just looks like a war zone hit Detroit. Like, but even though we was there, like we see nothing but black people. So how is like growing up and living in Detroit?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Alaska. I moved to Detroit when I was 6. My parents were military. My
Okay.
father's from Detroit.
Okay.
Are you familiar? Have you watched the BMF series?
I haven't watched it, but I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
So the BMF series, the neighborhood that they're from, I lived right around the corner.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I grew up in that era, that crack era when it was crazy, and yeah, I'm 41, so I grew up in that era.
Yeah.
And Detroit is awesome. I used to want to leave so bad, especially once I started comedy. I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. But Detroit is a great place to grow, and it teaches you to hustle, to grind. Like anywhere I go, I shine because it's just something about me. It's just something about Detroit people, our work ethic, and just we're a different breed. We
Hmm.
definitely are. We're a different breed. We're all about our money, and we know how to get it. You know what I'm saying? And if we don't got it, we look good while we faking it. Okay, that's one thing about it. We gonna look good. I'm broke. I'm broke, but I look good being broke. So
What
yeah, Detroit is dope.
so Mike, I heard Mike Epps is getting a club out there. Is that
Yeah.
okay? How is that? Because I'll look it up. You don't. I think you guys got a comedy club out there, but I'm not really sure. I think
Well,
you got
we have a
like,
new one in the city,
okay.
called the Detroit House of Comedy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a chain. Rick Bronson owns them. They are like, I know I've done the one in the Mall of America. They're in Arizona and different cities. It's like 6 or 7 of them. We have that. That's newer. That's about a year old. And then we have
Got that phone call, man.
I thought I put it on Do Not Disturb.
No, you're totally fine.
Maybe, maybe
You're
I
totally
thought I
fine.
did, and I told my daughter who's in the car with my dude. I'm like, y'all don't call me. I put on Do Not Disturb. But anywho,
No, you're fine.
that's some old people shit. I feel so old. Like I be asking my kids, like, how I make this TikTok? They be so mad at me. Like we ain't helping you no more. But we have Punchline Comedy Lounge. That's in right outside of Detroit in Southfield. That's our urban comedy lounge. Where all the national headliners come through. Black comics come through there. It's pretty dope. And like you say, Mike Epps is opening a comedy club. One Mic Stands right downtown in the heart of downtown. It's gonna be a really really big venue. It used to be a venue called Punch
Hmm.
Bowl Social,
Mm.
which had like bowling, multiple floors, multiple bars. It was huge. And so they're putting a big, huge comedy club in there, restaurants, different bars and stuff in it. So it's something to look forward to. It's pretty dope.
That's what's up, man. I think it'll help revive Detroit because I don't when I see comedians post their schedule, I really don't see Detroit be on the list. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping that changes things because I would definitely love to do comedy in Detroit. Not just me, but I'm pretty sure a whole bunch of other
Oh
comedians
yeah,
do
yeah.
too.
You got a lot of the big names. They come through the Fox Theater. The big tours they come through there. Little Caesars Arena when it's a really really big tour, like Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, Chris
Yeah.
Rock, all them. They come through there. But yeah, the Detroit they have the Punchline, they have the House of Comedy, and the House of Comedy are just now booking like more urban acts.
Hmm.
That's how we call it. That's what you say when you don't want to say niggas. Um, so they're booking more niggas. But, yeah, they letting us in there. But yeah, we got a bunch of little small rooms. I'm not sure if you're familiar, if you were familiar with Kool-Aid, who passed away a few years ago. He
Hmm.
was like the big Detroit comic, and he brought everybody in, and he had a Monday night comedy room that was a really big deal. Like you had to really be doing it to get on stage. He wouldn't just let anybody up.
Okay.
And so they just started that back again with Fago Red as the host. They
Okay.
do that. They do that on Monday nights,
Now,
and it's free. It's a pretty dope show.
you're the host at the Funny Bone in Toledo, right?
Yes,
Or one
I
of the
host.
hosts?
One of them. I host. I have a Thursday night there. I'm running it like every other Thursday, definitely once a month, depending on my schedule. But I host an open mic there. I recently hosted a showcase there, a contest to get newer acts in, to get more people to feature and host and MC. Because they choose a lot of the same people, and they don't know a lot of the comics. So
Yeah.
that was my way of introducing other comics to the club, and I'm there a lot. I feature a lot for the big names that come through there.
I was about to say, so how did you get that? Because here in Columbus, like we got a Funny Bone here too. As you know, we got
Yeah.
several in Ohio, but I've never seen. a black host, and it's very rare that I see somebody black host or feature in the Funny Bone.
Yeah. But like there, the management there is really great. I've established a really good relationship with them, and my comedy, uh, everybody likes my comedy. You know, it's black as hell, but I deliver it in such a way that I don't make people uncomfortable. You know, and my stage presence and my personality on stage is that of your home girl. That wasn't me, was it? That was not me, cause ain't nobody calling me.
Do you sell drugs? Your hotline blinking.
That was not me. That was you that time. Now I'm froze. I, you can hear me, but I can't see myself.
Hold on, let me see if I can. I'm I
Yeah,
feel
but
like
that's crazy because nothing came up. Nothing
yeah,
came up. It just went blank.
I wonder if I.
Your browser has lost connection to the camera. Other apps are using your camera. Refresh page, restart device to continue. Let me see. Let me do this. Okay, here we go.
There
There
we
we go.
go.
All right. So now can you fix the sound?
I can still hear you.
I can hear you, but you sound like Mickey Mouse.
Oh, I do. Hold on, give
Yeah.
me 1 second. That sound like me. Is that better?
No.
No. All right, hold on, give me 1 second. I wonder if I remove. Hold on. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
I can understand you.
Okay.
I can understand you really good. You just sound a little funny, but I can hear you.
Okay. 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 Okay.
So we can continue. But
Yeah.
yeah, like the Funny Bone, I someone took me, a comic took me on a Sunday for a clean family show, which I was like, ain't nothing clean and family about my comedy. And I just adjusted, and I was newer in the game, and I just they liked me a lot. They liked my personality, and they hit me up and said, "Hey, can you come? You know, host for the weekend?" I started off just emceeing really, and then the more I grew on my comedy and the stronger our relationship got, it's just like, "Hey, we need you this weekend to feature for Guy Tori. We need you to feature for Michael Blackson. We need you to feature for JJ Williamson, Billy Sorrell." So I work a lot through the Funny Bone, and you know, I was just like, hey, you ain't got nothing going on a Thursday. Let me host open mic. Let me put a showcase together, and I do a lot of shows there. Like if people call me, a gentleman called me and wanted to um, bring a charter bus out to see me, so I called out like, hey, can I get this date? She's like, yep, ain't nothing going on. So that's my day, you know. So and comedy is all about establishing relationships. It ain't
Yeah.
just the funny.
How does it feel to have so much power? Because I don't. Well, I'm in a bigger market than Toledo, but and I feel like our Funny Bone is like the top one, but still, regardless, like that's so much power to have with such a a club. Like, how does that feel, especially being a black woman?
It's amazing. It's like it's a great feeling to be able to be connected to mainstream clubs because they do keep us in a box, especially black women. We're very limited in what we can do. It's with black women in comedy. If it's one, that's enough. You know, if
Hmm.
you ever look at flyers, you rarely ever see more than one woman in a show, or it has to be an all female show. But it's never like a show with big names and it's two women on there. It's rare. It's like, okay, we only have room for one of you. And so it's such a blessing to be able to have um, that establishment back me. They refer me to a lot of other clubs. I'm working on getting in Columbus. Um, as far as that. But it's and then my thing is to help others get in. You know, I
Hmm.
got my spot. I'm not selfish. A lot of women in comedy, it becomes a conflict or like a competition all the time, and not with me. I'm all about helping others. I'm secure and who I am and what I am to this comedy game. And so um, I go out my way to bring others and say, hey, check her out, especially women. Check her out. Check out this new comic. You know, a lot of them would never have been able to get to the Funny Bone without me saying, you know what, I'm gonna have a night to introduce you all to the management and the booking staff at the Funny Bone. So it's a great feeling to not just be able to go in there myself, but to open the doors for so many others.
How do we like us men who dominate this industry, at least on the front end? How do we help you women get more stage time?
But I think that a lot of we have to broaden um our material a lot of times, you know. If you hear women, a lot of times you'll hear a lot of the same material. And a lot of it's because, you know, we're around the same age. Most of us are mothers, or, you know, some are single mothers. Most women comics are single for some reason. Um, and so a lot of our material is similar to subject matter, but it's good to go deeper into our writing, you know, to where we become not just one of many, to where we stand out. Um, as far as doing comedy, you know, you don't want to. I'm not a big fan. I do all women shows, but I try not. I don't really like to because, you know, if you heard me talk about dating an old man, the next young lady, she's going to talk about it. She's going to talk about it differently, but you're going to hear I'm dating this old man 3 or 4 times. You're going to hear about not being a lesbian, or, you know, you're going to hear that joke. You're going to hear we have a lot of similar life experiences. And so it's our job to uh, write so well and create a story and create the narrative so well to where we do stand out, to where they say, you know what, I'm gonna bring her back because she has something unique, she has something different than I always hear. So
How do
that's what
you
it's about.
how do you find because that'd be one of my biggest things too, like you know, I'm 32, so I'm getting a little older, and it's like, okay, I hear the comics that talk about getting older, and I know that we just talk about our life, but how do you find material that's kind of away from the norm of what anybody's going to talk about around your age group or your demographic?
Yeah, so I write probably a lot different than other people. Most of my writing comes from conversation, just from me and my friends talking. I have a joke about it's a joke. I've never heard anybody else say this about sleeping with their son's friends. You know, I have an older son. My son is 25,
Mm-hmm.
and the joke is, you know, my son is lame. He gets mad because I'm sleeping with his friends. And how that joke came about, my son at the time was about 19 years old, and he comes in playing basketball, and it's him and like 5 of his friends, and they come in, they got the shirts off, and they all sweaty, and my friend is visiting from out of town, and she like, man, how you sit around these little niggas all day like this, you know, dang. And so, boom, we laughed about that, and the joke was written.
Yeah.
And then but my material comes from conversation, life experiences, and even if they are the same subject matter, my experience is so much different, and I write so unique that if somebody gets up in front of me and has the same subject matter, my story is completely different. I make
Yeah.
sure of that,
Yeah.
you know. And then I make sure not only um women my age understands it. My comedy, I like it. I like for it to transcend through race, age, sex. You know, I want to tell the story so well that if you haven't experienced anything like it, I'm gonna paint the picture so vivid that you're gonna be like, damn, you know, that's deep. I feel it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I try to well, first of all, I put myself in situations where I know I can get a joke out of it, and I try to always talk about stuff that you normally wouldn't hear a black guy talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm starting to hear more guys talk about getting a booty ate. So I can only go so far with that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I did on purpose go get waxed for the first time. And so I've never heard nobody talk about that. Not saying that nobody ever has, but So what I try to do is I try to put myself in situations where I know I'm gonna get some funny out of it for some reason. So
Yeah. That right there is funny to me already because I've been trying to convince my dude to get that back there. You got a you got a whole sweater on. You know, whole
man, it was cool. I would go back, but I just haven't found the time. Like I don't know. It's much easier when you got clippers in the bathroom. Like you know what I'm saying? So I just haven't been back.
yeah
But
yeah.
like when I get a little bit of money, I'll see myself being bougie and be like, yeah, this is my wax day, this is my pedicure day. You know
I love it. I
what I'm
love it.
Yeah, but
Yeah
okay, now one thing, now I did hear you say that joke because I was looking you up and I saw you perform at Sway in the morning. Like
yeah.
how did you get that? Because it seemed like New York is kind of like your little second home there. You've been there a couple times. How did you get that?
Oh yeah, yeah. I have great friends that look out for me that call me for everything. They if they hear something, they're like, "Hey, I heard Sway say he's having a competition." So I was on the one in 2020. 2018, I submitted. They would say it on the radio, we're having this competition. I submitted in 2018, but I did it late and I wasn't picked. However, I drove out there anyway. Um, I drove out, even slept in my car the first night because where my family lives, there's nowhere to park. If you don't
Mhm.
get there by a certain time, you're not gonna be able to park. So I slept in my car, got up and went to the show the next day, and just introduced myself, talked to some people, talked to them. And when it came around next year, my friends like, get on it right now. I submitted, and 2 days later, they reached out to me and said, hey, we want you to come out. And I was nervous. That show was I performed that show at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
So yeah, off 3 shots of Patron before I went on stage. I don't drink anymore though.
Yeah, we gonna get to that. That's on my list too.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
one thing I did saw that I thought was like super duper dope, man. You perform at Caroline's right before it closed. Like,
yeah.
how was that experience? Because it was such a staple in comedy, and especially in the New York scene. Like, how was that? How did you get that opportunity, and then how was it performing there?
So that tied back into Sway in the Morning. So a
Okay.
part of my winning Sway in the Morning competition was to headline at Caroline's on Broadway. Of course, my original date was July 28th, 2020, but with COVID, shut everything down. And so once they opened back up, they were limited to the amount of shows and this that, and the third. So I was like, look, y'all gonna give me my date, you know. And I reached out to them. They're like, okay, we're gonna get you in. And they called me and said, okay, we got December 13th, and this was within like a less than a month for me to get everything together to get people to come out. And I had a full house. I'm talking about people flew in from everywhere, which is super super dope. Um, but and the crazy part is they were trying to change my date till January, and I was like, no, I bought 40 plane tickets, no. And so they're like, okay, cool. And it was by far the most amazing experience ever. Like to walk out, it's one thing to perform in front of a packed house, but when they are there to see you,
Hmm.
and you're the headliner, and people flew in to see you. People came off the streets that had Googled me and looked me up, came in to see me. I had people there from London, and just it was the most amazing experience. I would probably rate my performance like a B because I was overwhelmed with emotions. Like it was just like, wow, I can't believe I'm here. I
Yeah.
can't believe I'm doing this. But it was so dope. It was by far uh, one of my. I would say after this weekend, it was number one, but it's fighting for what I did this weekend. So, but it
What?
was it was.
My fault. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Hmm, go ahead.
When did you know that it was closing? Because we didn't know. Well, I mean, no, I'm not from New York, so I didn't know until it was on the news in like December. So when did you know it was closing?
I found out when everybody else found out. So had I let them
Um,
switch my day in January, I wouldn't have been on. I wouldn't have had the show. Yep, I found out maybe like a week or so later. After I was like, I ain't giving up my date, and it was like my show was a week after they made that announcement, maybe a week or two after they made that announcement. So
Dang, you fought for
yeah,
yourself and you got in there.
that was number one on my list. I had performed there. That was my fourth time performing. I performed. I did the two open mics there.
Mm-hmm.
I did the one open mic, then they called me back to showcase, and then I did the 2 in the morning, and then I finally headlined. But that was my dream, was just to perform on that stage. Not even I hadn't even fathomed the thought of headlining, you
Yeah.
know, there. But just to get there was my dream.
How is it? How important is it to hit those open mics? Because a lot of the chatter that I hear in my scene is like, we don't do open mics, and I get that, and I know that everybody's at a different point in their career, but sometimes those open mics for me, I just see it as an audition. For to be honest with you, and I've actually booked showcases out of doing open mics. So how important is it to do open mics, even if you are a vet and you've done these big rooms or open up for certain people? Like, how important is it to do open mic?
I'm not a household name yet, so I have to introduce myself to. I have to introduce myself. Make sure y'all don't make no noise. Sorry. Everybody
They
they
can
coming in from school and shit.
they can make noise.
They coming like, oh, what's up, mama?
Y'all see
What you
how she
cooking?
switched to mom mode so quick? Make sure you don't make no noise. Don't slam my cabinets. Don't do none of that.
Yeah. But open mics are very, very important. Because everybody doesn't know you. I have to introduce myself. I don't know everybody in Columbus. I've done shows in Columbus, but I don't know everybody in Columbus. I haven't done um shows all over the country. Until I'm a household name, until everybody knows me, I'm doing open mics, and I don't mind driving. Most people they'll quit their jobs and stuff like that. It takes money to make money, and I don't mind driving on my own dime and going to different cities. And if I can get a cheap flight, I mean, I'm not against flying Spirit. I'll get a flight for $20 in a minute and go somewhere I've never been just to go. I'm like, oh, okay, wait a minute, I've never been to Montana. Okay, let
Yeah,
me find that comedy club in Montana. I got a ticket for $32. I'm gonna go to Montana and find that comedy club and go perform there. Find out when the open mics is there. Reach out to people. It's very important, and it's also good to work out your material. I like doing open mics in other cities because it's good to be in front of an audience that doesn't know anything about you, and you have to invite them to your world. You know what I'm saying? So, I like those. I like those opportunities, and so many people they get. So they coming for me. They don't know you.
yeah,
They don't know you. They're not looking for you.
yeah,
You have to introduce yourself to. You have to present yourself to these people.
yeah. Um, you really flew to Montana?
No, but I flew to Omaha.
Okay.
I've done Omaha, Nebraska. I didn't even think it was black folk in Omaha.
Yeah.
I, I did a big show out there. It was like
Okay.
500 people. It was dope as hell.
Yeah, yeah,
Shout
yeah.
out to my homegirl, Lotto Marie, formerly known as MC Lotto. She brought me out there.
Now you said you did a show this weekend. Can you talk about it? You said it was one of the number
Oh
one
man.
things you did. Can you talk about it or not?
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
this weekend I was a part of the first Traverse City Comedy Festival. Traverse City is up north,
Okay. Yeah.
Michigan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's 4 miles, I mean 4 hours up north in the Upper Peninsula. Um, all white town.
Mm,
Uh, this is my second time there. I was there early December. When I was there in December, I only saw one other black person. This time I saw maybe a few people that worked there, maybe like three or four. But that's the most all white town, conservative town, Trump country.
yeah.
Um, but it was such an amazing experience. Like I did each comic did 3 shows, and which was good about that, it was a paid festival. Most festivals, you're really just coming for the opportunity to showcase and get in front of people. Well, this one was paid. They paid you well. They um, paid for lodging. It was just an overall great experience. And so I did one night. I did a show called The Daily Dozens, and that was just like 12 comics going up doing 7 minutes. Then the next day, I was off the next day. I did my three. I did one show Thursday, 2 shows Saturday. So I had Friday off. But I did the hip prov show, which I'm bringing to the Funny Bone. A young lady from Detroit by the name of Tan White created this show during the pandemic. At first, it was just virtual. it's similar, she was big in improv, and so it's a great show, ties in hip hop and everything to that. So I did that show and killed it. Did you get a chance to see my freestyle?
No, I didn't get a chance to see it. No, I
Oh
saw the picture you posted, but
yeah, you got to see the freestyle. I killed it. So the audience just threw out a topic, and I had to rap about it. And mine
okay.
was my topic was being a nurse. And
Mm.
when I used to drink, every time I get a little tipsy, I want to freestyle. So that was nothing for me.
Yeah.
As soon as I get drunk, I'm like, yo, 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 bars, like,
Yeah.
but the highlight of that my weekend was I hosted for Dean Edwards at a sold out theater. And that was my first time performing in the sold out theater. I performed in theaters before, real light crowds though. But this every seat was filled. I went out there and I rocked it. I'm talking about standing ovation rocked it. Like it was amazing just to be in that setting and to have these people just love you and like wanting to take pictures and get your autograph. Like y'all want my autograph? Wow. It was amazing.
What's the difference between performing at a club and performing in a theater?
The amount of people, a comedy club. To be honest, I like the comedy club setting better. It's more intimate. Um, most of them hold no more than 300. Some may hold four. And then I like the closeness there, but the theater is just like, oh my God, it's 800 people in here. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I'm making 700 people laugh at the same time, and they loving me, and they like, it was just amazing. And the stages are getting bigger and bigger, going from the bar, uh, standing in the middle of a dance floor performing, to private events, to the comedy club, to the theaters. Like that's those are the steps, those are the places that you wanna, that's elevation,
Yeah. Yeah.
So the comedy clubs are real good though.
How in the world do you pursue your dreams while being a mother? I mean, I know your kids aren't young, they're in their teenage years and adult, but is there like a battle? Do you feel guilty sometimes? Like how's that
Hell
process?
no, fuck them kids. Listen, no, no. My children, it's always just been me and my children since they were younger. And my son is 25. I have a daughter that's soon to be 23. I have another daughter that's my youngest is about to graduate high school. And then I have three bonus children, my dude's children. They're 16, 14, and 18. And they're very independent. And I've done my job with my children to where I'm able to get on the road and I not have to worry about home and not have to be concerned. I've always taught them that we're a team, and they were spoiled and they wanted nice shit, And I remember my youngest daughter fussing like, "Well, you always gone." And this is even before comedy. I worked a lot. I worked and went to school, and I told him, I said, "Look, y'all want these things, and Mama got to go to work now. I ain't got to work as much. If you don't want Jordans, I ain't got to work that much. I can, pull back a little bit and we can go and get some other shoes. But you got to understand that we're a team and we got to work together. I have a world oil machine. I've been on the road for a week. And my son was in charge at the time. He was like 18, 19. And I came back and my house was in one piece. All my food was gone because come to find out these motherfuckers had a party, had a New Year's Eve party. Sent the youngest one with my parents. I didn't know none of this. Sent her to church with my parents. And my son at the time was about 18 and 19. And my other daughter, she was about 15. And they had a whole party in my house. And I came back and the house was clean and everything. And I didn't think nothing of it until I went to my freezer. And I was like, damn, like y'all ate all the meat. Like, who made pork chops? Like, my daughter was cooking food and selling it to my son's friends. She was in there cooking shit that didn't go together, fish and baked beans. Uh, she was making. I came home with no food left. You
Yeah.
know, but they were smart enough. I had no clue other than y'all was just hungry as hell this weekend, I guess. But it's a balance. It's
Yeah.
I do get homesick. I do get homesick. Especially since, you know, at one point I looked at it as vacation, you know, when I would be gone. But now I'm gone so much that I'd be
Hmm.
like, oh God. And then I got a dude, you know, that I leave at home a lot of times. I miss him and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It gets a little lonely sometimes, but you know, I understand that one day, you know, he ain't gonna have to stay home and work, you know, because we're gonna pull the bag in so big he can be on the road with me, managing me, you know,
Yeah.
doing those things. So it's coming soon.
You remind me so much of my brother. I believe you guys are exactly like the same age.
Mm,
Because he's so proud of his sobriety, which he should be, and I've just met him like 2018 or 17,
mm-hmm.
2017, and from that brief period of time that I knew him, because like as soon as we met, he like went back to jail, but ever since he got out, he's been totally different. What made you get sober, and what was, I guess, the cause of the alcoholism?
Um, just what made me get. I'll go back to what made me get sober, but the cause just I come from a long line of alcoholics, long line of drinkers. You know, I come my family. My dad, my parents got sober when I was 11, and my dad became a pastor some years later. But I was already introduced to that lifestyle. You
Mhm.
know, like I said, I grew up in that era with drugs and the dope boys, and that was the thing to do when we were young. You know, the men were older, and they would pick us up, and we go riding and drinking. I never really smoked weed, so that was never an issue. But that's what me and my friends did. We were young. We 13 years old, and we would it would be like spring break, and we would get a yeah.
She
I'm
tried to
back.
catch me. No, you
Oh,
fine.
you're
You
back
fine.
now. Now I can hear you good. Maybe somebody
Okay,
should have
cool.
called me. Maybe somebody should have called me. But yeah, just growing up in that era, and that's what we did. You know, we would hang out at a friend's house. My parents didn't know a lot of things that I was doing. You know, like I said, my father was a pastor, so he was always, even when they were in the streets, he was always really tight on us. Growing up, my sister and I, he was always really tight on us. No matter what he did in the streets, he was always a father. My parents were always great parents. But once they got saved, like I couldn't do shit no more. You know, like it
Mhm.
was like I can't go nowhere. I was used to going to the little kitty disco on Sunday, and we had to go to church, and we went to church every damn day. It seemed like, and so I would go to my friend's house, and that's what we did. We would drink, and then as I got older, living on my own, being in abusive relationship, things like that. The drinking got heavier then, and I worked in bars. I was a bartender for 8 years,
Mhm.
and so that built my tolerance up. You know, I drank all day. You know what I'm saying? My cousin would come in, I'll take a shot with me, and I'll be there for sometimes 10, 16 hours, and that's what we would do all day. And then I worked. I left the bar and worked at the plant, which is just as bad as working at the bar. You know, you can get anything you want in the plant. Okay, you can get anything, and we were there so much we didn't have a outside life, so we would drink at work. You know, we would do that, and then um, I've been battling with. You know, I would quit. I'd take breaks. I would quit. I would go back into it, and I would always do the same cycle. You know, I'll take a break. I'll take 30 days, or even like 3 or 4 months. And then I said, okay, I'm good. I can have a drink now. I don't have to drink as much. I'll start off with wine. Everyone thinks that wine is like soft, and you know, we're gonna start off with wine. But eventually, if you're a drinker, that wine ain't gonna be enough. And wine gets you where you need to be. It's just not as fast or long lasting. And so you like, you know what? Forget that. Why would I pay $12 for a bottle of wine when I can get a half pint or Amsterdam or whatever for
Mhm.
$3 and some change? And so I just decided, just difficulties, DUI, and you know, you just get to a point in your life where I realized it wasn't a help. Anything that I've done, anything that I do in my life that's not a help, it's a hindrance. And Jada, go check those greens for me. Make sure they're not burning. Thank you. Excuse me.
No, you fine.
I'm cooking. I'm cooking my dude. His birthday is tomorrow,
Okay.
and we're not gonna be in town, so I'm having his birthday dinner here with all the
Okay.
kids and stuff like that. So I'm making. Is it still water in them? Okay, take it off the stove for me. Um, but yeah, I'm having birthday dinner for him today.
No,
For
I was
sure,
gonna
for
say you
sure.
look like you can cook. I'm not gonna lie.
I got this, boy. See that? Can you see it? Boy, if she ain't got that, don't eat her food. She put sugar in her greens. She put raisins in her potato salad. Yeah, don't eat them. If she ain't got that, she can't cook. Come on now. But
What?
um, but yeah, anything that's not a help is a hindrance. And I was just like, I'm over it. And so I had tried before and tried, and I was just like, it was my birthday. My birthday was July 1st. And I had partied all month, just drank. And I woke up on July 29th. And I was like, I'm done. I still had liquor in my cup. And I was out running errands. I said, okay, I ain't gonna throw this out. That's alcohol abuse. But I said, it's been 20 years of drinking. I was like, I'm done. I drank that drink and I haven't touched nothing since. The first 2 months was a little difficult, especially on stage.
Mm.
On stage was rough because I used it as a crutch. I would have a few shots. I didn't like to be drunk on stage. That's one thing I didn't do. I would wait until after the show, but I would have some drinks before I went up. Um,
How do you fight the temptation? Because that's what they say. Like comics, we're alcoholics. I don't. I mean, I socially drink, but it's not really like a crutch for me. And I, for me, it's just my dad. My dad's an alcoholic. Like I've never
mm,
seen him even drink water or Kool-Aid.
mm.
So I was never really turned on by alcohol, and I don't like the feeling of being hot. I just can't. It
Be
just don't.
hot. Oh, listen.
Yeah, it just
I,
don't make sense to me.
I actually get cold now. I remember sleeping. It be 18 degrees, and I'm like sweating and shit.
So how do you like fight the temptation? Because it's everywhere at comedy clubs.
In the beginning, it was difficult. Um, it was, like I say, going up on stage, I would have a few shots. So I was like, the first month or so, I was real rusty. Like I didn't even like my comedy. My nerves would get the best of me. But being in a comedy club, most people with addictions that battle addictions, they find other things to get addicted to. And which always would work for me was the gym. Whenever I worked out, I wouldn't drink because I didn't want to mess up what I did in the gym.
Hmm.
And so that's my addiction. And I don't like for a while I would have like non-alcoholic drinks just to kind of fit in, or I would have like fake drinks in the club to make myself feel comfortable. But I don't even need that anymore. It's weird because the other day it shocked me. I thought about it myself, like you're on you're partying with people. When I was up north, a lot of my friends from Detroit comics were there. And that's what we do. We turn up, we drink. And I had no desire. Somebody bought me a non-alcoholic beer and I sipped it, but I didn't really want it. Um, but I was just like so shocked. Like I couldn't believe myself, like, wow, you don't even have the desire to drink. And
Yeah.
that was good. It's gone. I'm not gonna say I don't know if I'll ever drink again because it is, like they say in alcohol, which I never went. I lied and said I went to AA. I didn't. I just told the people that. But they say, one day at a time, and that's the truth.
Yeah.
I count every day as a blessing. I look up sometimes and it could be 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I'm like, dang, I ain't had nothing to drink today. That's what's up. I didn't even think about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's and it's a great feeling. Like after that, it initially was supposed to be like 30 days, but so much started happening immediately. I prayed to God about it. I'm very spiritual. I'm not religious. I'm very spiritual, and I prayed about it. And I prayed and I asked God. I said, if you take this from me, I'll give this up, and I want you to show me what you can do. I want you to show me what you can do. And immediately, it was like day 2, and I'm getting booked to come to. I got a call to do a show in LA. I got a call to do this and do that, and we need you to come out here. We need to come here. We need to. The money was just increasing. It was amazing. It was, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, after day 30, I was like, well, I'm gonna just keep it going and see what else he can do for me, what else God can do for me. And it just started growing. And like the past, this a little over 6 months now, the past 6 months have been life changing. My opportunities, my career opportunities have exceeded anything I could have imagined.
Yeah.
And I attribute that to, the promise I kept to God.
Well, pray for me and my addiction to weed, because
So, yeah,
we only on one blunt a day, but I'm not at 9.
that's
But
good.
I know, right?
That's good. So everybody I know that smoke, they smoke. Okay, they ain't
I can't do that. I'm a
that.
punk. Listen, I am a punk. Just give me a blunt and a half, and I am
Mm,
cool. All right, but I really use it because when you young, you just party, whatever. I just did it here and there, with my friends, because I never really smoked, so they would just do it to get me high. But I really use it for my anxiety on stage, because I'll be up some.
mm,
I'm probably like last year I finally stopped shaking on stage and having panic attacks and all that bull
mm.
crap. So that's kind of what I use it for, just to mellow me out. By the time I get up there, I don't even really feel it anymore. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm not against weed. I just never. I've eaten an edible here and there. I was stuck on the rock in Vegas about 3 hours. Uh, I took my dude to Vegas last year for his birthday, and us dumbasses, neither one of us smoked. Like, let's get an edible. We just stuck on the rock like it is so nice out here. It was so beautiful. Look at the cloud. Look at the sky. We were just there, just looking just as dumb for about 3 hours. But I didn't like the way weed felt, so that's not my
Yeah,
thing.
I'm starting
Yeah.
to get a little tired of it. No, from you being from Detroit and you being in PK, what is in the water up there, man? Cause y'all pump out the best gospel music ever, man.
Oh
And music in
yeah.
general, but the gospel be fire. Like, what's in the
Oh
music?
yeah.
What's in the water up
Listen,
there?
listen, Motown. Motown runs through us, through our veins, and even in the church, they transferred a lot of the Motown singers came from the church. And the church, the choirs are everything. That's what got me interested when I was younger. Like at first, I was like, I don't want to go to church. And then the choir, and I love the way they sang, and all the kids in the choir. I was like, oh man, and we used to travel and compete and stuff like that, and record albums. I was like, this is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, we can blow now. We can blow.
Who's
I,
your
I
favorite?
can hit a note or two myself. Mhm.
Who's your favorite gospel singer?
John P. Key.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
all right. I
John P.
like that. I
Key.
could deal with that. One of my
Yeah,
faves
who's
is
yours?
DJ Catcher. DJ.
Oh, Big
Yeah,
Hatton.
yeah. He's one of my
Yeah,
faves. Cause he
yeah.
still live a worldly life, but
I
but
mean,
he
and
preach.
they all do.
Yeah,
The difference is um what people see. And I was grateful. My dad was a true man of God. I never had to deal with any scandal. He adored my mother. Um, but he was still a man. He still was human. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like it was so funny because I found out when he passed away. I was like, I found some lottery tickets in the crowd. Like this nigga was playing the lottery. But he was a human being.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think a lot of times, we don't look at pastors and preachers. It's their calling, but it's also a job. And that they are supposed to lead by example and be an example and be a light to people. But you can be a light and still live your life. Like when I was growing up, we couldn't dance.
yeah,
It was like it was everything was a sin when I was coming up.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
my dad, the more he got into the scripture, he realized that everything ain't a sin, and you still got to live. And I remember him preaching a message one time. He was talking about music
hmm
and worldly music, and he was like, I don't know what about y'all, but when I'm with my wife, I don't want to hear "To God Be the Glory." I want to hear "Let's Get It On." Like, you know, you know, I want to hear some Teddy P. I
Yeah.
want to hear John P. Key.
Yeah.
You know, and
That-
and a lot of the gospel music is a love song. It's a love song to Christ.
yeah.
You know, so
That's what got me like when
yeah.
I used because my dad, not much so my mom, but my dad he played nothing but old school music. So my old pastor would be like, "Yeah, you can't listen to worldly music, blah 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 blah." And then I'll be listening to old school music. I'm like, "No, wait a minute. If the Bible say God is love and this song is about love, then if I really think about God on this song, he could be singing about God." Like,
I can get the same message. Exactly. I don't know who he's singing to anyway. It could be God. So yeah, most
you know.
definitely.
So okay, now as we start to wrap this up here, who is on your Mount Rushmore for comedy?
Oh, okay. Mm, Mount Rushmore for comedy. Eddie Murphy, of course. Eddie Murphy, of course. Uh, Lisa Lampanelli. Are you familiar with her?
I have no idea who that is.
A lot of people. She recently retired. She retired a few years ago. But Lisa Lampanelli was. She's a white comic. I'm talking about straight raw, the raunchiest, the talks about everybody, says the most derogatory things you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Like no black people, Asian people, Jewish, just says whatever, whatever. And I like that she was fearless. Um, but she said she ended up retiring because she said she felt like she was hurtful in her comedy. But I liked her rawness and her not being afraid to um to put herself out there and say those things, because now we're pulling away from that too.
Yeah, I do know who you're talking about. I've never seen her or heard her stand up, but I did hear about a woman retiring because she felt bad. So okay, yes, I know you're talking about. Okay.
Yes, so I would say Lisa Lampanelli, Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence was like my favorite. He's one of the reasons I wanted to do comedy. I love Martin. I love Def Jam. I grew up watching Def Jam. Um, Guy Tori, and I recently got to work with him, and he is the most amazing comic that I have ever met. Like his spirit, his energy. That's how I want to be when people meet me, and just he had such an amazing, loving, welcoming, warm spirit about him, and he was funny, super
Yeah.
funny. So, and my favorite comic, can you take a guess?
You already said Martin.
So I said
Uh,
Martin. I said Eddie. I
I'm gonna be
said
lazy. I'm gonna be lazy and say Wanda Sykes.
no. My favorite comic is Mike Epps.
Okay.
My favorite comic is Mike Epps, and what I like about Mike Epps, um, I love his relatability. I love his personality on and off stage. Like, and that's the type of energy I try to give out when I'm on stage. Like, um, I'm your homegirl. When you
Hmm.
watch Mike Epps, you feel like that's a nigga next door. You know what I'm saying? That's your cousin. That's your funny ass cousin at the cookout. That's the guy in school at the lunch table.
Hmm.
And it's not like he's really trying hard. He's just naturally funny. His energy on stage is so personal. And like you feel like you know him. Like, I would walk up to Mike, I was like, what up, dog? You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I know him, and that's what I try to give off when I'm on stage. So Mike Epps is definitely my favorite comic.
So the one that he released on Netflix, I think that one might have been called Only One Mic, and that was during the pandemic. And then he released another one just last year. But it wasn't
Okay.
until the one he released during the pandemic, I was like, okay, I'm paying attention to him. Not that I've never not looked at his specials, but to me, maybe just because I wasn't doing comedy at the time, they were forgettable. But
Hmm.
the one during the pandemic, only one mic, and the recent one, I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to him. Like he is growing and he is transcending to a whole nother level that I don't think a lot of people can comprehend. And I think he's on the same level as Earthquake and Dion Cole. Like they
Oh,
kind of
definitely.
have I don't want to say they have like the same style, but it comes off very effortless. It's
Mm-hmm.
very like the writing seems very not to be disrespectful, but just very plain. Because I think sometimes as comedians, I'll speak for myself, I can overthink the writing, and then when I'm just like myself, it comes naturally. But like I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to Mike Epps. He's still growing in comedy, and he's reaching a level that a lot of people can't comprehend.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I can quote so many Mike Evans jokes. One of my favorite jokes is um, I had to knock it between the washer and dryer.
Hmm.
That's like one of my favorite jokes because it's the truth, and how black mothers are with their daughters is so funny. And that's a running joke in my house. Like whenever I get on my daughter, I'm like, you hungry? You want to go get something to eat? That's
Yeah.
I don't apologize for whooping your ass. I just feed you. She mad as hell. She don't want to talk to nobody. But
to
yeah,
the
yeah.
to the comedians listening to this right now, what kind of words of encouragement or motivation can you give them?
Uh, One is keep a day job. Keep a day job. Advice. Or have a hustle. Like me, I work, but I haven't worked in a year. I haven't punched the clock in over a year. But I'm a caterer as well. So I have multiple streams of income. Comedy, until I get steady, I'm on a road where I can make the money I make that I need to make to live a comfortable life. Always keep a job. And it amazed me that came from I went to LA and people that I saw on TV, people with comedy specials are the bartender in LA. They work at Macy's. They work at car dealers, car salesmen. Um, and it just goes to show you that, a lot of times we think we made it and that's the first thing you want to do when you become a comic. I'm gonna quit my job and do comedy full time because I'm a real comic. I wouldn't suggest that. It takes money to make money. You're not gonna make no real money in the beginning. I've been in this 8 years now. I didn't start seeing money into real money. Well, I was like, oh, okay, this is a good paycheck. Probably till I was in the game like 4 years is when I really 4 or 5 years when I really started seeing money. And now I was growing because of the things I've done. I can ask for a lot more, but also write. Just write everything down. Write any experience that you have. There's a joke in everything. I found humor in death at funerals. I found humor in so many different situations. I always look at everything from a comedic standpoint, even when it's the worst. I would also suggest be personable. Relationships. I would say funny. Funny is probably 50% of being a successful stand-up comic. The other 50 is relationships and likability. There's so many comics out here that can't get work that are hilarious, but their demeanor is so they're into it. They're in all the mix of the messiness and everything. And so it's hard. People don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
People they love to work with me. When I would go to the Funny Bone, when we would do shows on Sunday, I would bring meals for the staff and the headline, whoever the headliner was, because I know they were tired of eating the same food all weekend. So I would bring meals and I'm just a kind person. That's just who I am, on and off the stage. But that's what it's about, establishing relationships. It ain't always about the funny because you see people. Let's be real. You see people. You like they ain't even that funny. How they get there? That's how.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how. Yeah. That's it.
Ronnie, tell people why they should listen to comedians in bed.
Oh man, Comedians in Bed. First of all, I'm so happy to be a part of this. This is an amazing show. Ty is an awesome interviewer. Like I didn't even feel like I was working. I felt like, I think I burnt my greens messing around with you. I think I did. I think I did. But no, it's such a great experience, and he's introducing you to comics you may or may not know, and you'd be surprised, who he brings on here. Like myself, I'm pretty sure once you see this, you're gonna want to get to know Roni Shanell and and all the other comics that he brings on here, and support other comics, support Black comedy. It's hard for us out here. support comedy in general, but it's hard for Black comics. So definitely tune in to Comics in Bed because this shit is funny. I love it. I had a great time today.
Ronnie, tell people where they can find you at.
You can follow me everywhere, Roni Shanell, any social media platform, Instagram. Because I am the age that I am, Facebook loves me. That's it. Like Facebook, I could put something on Facebook now, and it has 1,000 views in 5 minutes. Like Instagram, it takes days for that shit. TikTok, I'm still working on TikTok. But yeah. So Roni Shanell, you can find me in and everywhere. And if you like this t-shirt I'm wearing, it says, I'm up next. I got it X'd out. I'm up now because it's my time, you know. I am the big thing. I ain't the next big thing. I'm the big thing that's happening right now. Comedian Roni Shanell. You can DM me, hit me up if you want a t-shirt. They're $25, but I will give you a discount. If you say you saw me on Comics in Bed, I will give you a discount and it'll be $24.99, not $25. So that's just for you. Just, just for your viewers. Just for your viewers.
Hey man, if you want to check out next week's episode, you go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel at TYE Comedy. Or if you want to listen to this on the audio version, you can go ahead and subscribe to Comedians in Bed wherever you listen to podcasts. This week we had the wonderful super mom, the hilarious Roni Shanell on here. Guys, we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you so much for having me.